If the feathered dinosaurs from China did not fly, that left Archaeopteryx as the first true bird capable of powered flight. But how did flight develop? Were the first flying dinosaurs fast runners who caught some air while grabbing for prey with feathered arms? Or were they tree climbers that began as gliders only to later turn it into powered flight? Using Archaeopteryx as an example, Luis Chiappe explains the two competing theories of the origin of flight.
Origin of flight has been polarized in two opposing views. Some people believe that flight evolved from the ground up, from animals that were running, and by flapping these feathers, these running animals were able to run faster and to leap longer, and eventually, when they became smaller, they became airborne. And on the other hand, there are people who support the idea that the predecessors of birds became tree climbers and started climbing trees and having a more arboreal lifestyle and jumping from one branch to the other and onto the ground. And by doing this, they slowly perfected the ability to fly.
In 2003, a fossil like no other was found at Liaoning. It may hold the answer to the origin of flight. Meet Microraptor, a small tree-climbing raptor with asymmetrical flight feathers arranged on count 'em, four wings. One pair for its arms, another for its legs. It's the most important fossil find in bird evolution since Archaeopteryx. Zhu Jing, a paleontologist with the American Museum of Natural History and the Chinese Academy of Sciences, made this exciting discovery.
Microraptor is the most exciting animal I have ever described. At the very beginning, we didn't realize that we have a very important discovery at hand. But when we look at detail, it tells us a totally different story.
It was a story unlike any other read in the fossil record. Was flight pioneered by a dinosaur with wings on all four limbs?
It's identical to the flight feather in flight birds today. Actually, I think the Microraptor is not far from the first birds.
If the aerodynamic feathers on the legs of Microraptor can be confirmed with additional specimens, then Microraptor will certainly go down in history as one of the most important fossils of this century.
Amazingly, it now seems birds may have begun their journey to powered flight by sporting four wings, not two, to help them glide from tree to tree. It would not have taken much for the grab and pull action of hunting raptors to turn that glide into the wing stroke of modern flying birds. In the past, birds have always been recognized as members of a distinct group. Two things set them apart from other animals: having feathers and their mastery of flight. But with its modern-looking flight feathers and aerodynamic wings, Microraptor has robbed the birds of both these distinctions in one fell swoop. By working together, scientists from diverse fields have been able to trace the sequence of stages feathers progressed through as they evolved. Not only have they peeled back the layers of living tissue to see evolution at work, but they have peeled back the layers of time to see their theory written in stone. The tale begins with the theropod dinosaur Sinosauropteryx and its simple tubular feathers. The story continues with Dave, the fuzzy raptor, who sported complex feathers with a central shaft and barbs with interlocking barbules. The last chapter was the development of asymmetrical aerodynamic flight feathers used by Microraptor to glide and its relatives, the birds, to fly. Without the magic of the Liaoning fossils, this revolution in thought would have never taken place.
It just seems like all the pieces are coming together right now on a question which that we really only before this had one piece of evidence for, and that was Archaeopteryx. So it's a great time to be studying these things.
The discovery that modern feathers evolved in raptor dinosaurs before the origin of birds or flight has blurred the line between the two groups. It challenges the imagination to see some of our most familiar dinosaurs, the meat-eating raptors, including the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, in this new light.
I was so struck by this that I took my kids and I sat them down on the couch and I said, listen to me, kids, this is really important. I want you to remember this. Tyrannosaurus rex had feathers.
By combining discoveries in the field of paleontology, developmental biology, and molecular genetics, scientists have shown that evolutionary theory can provide answers to fundamental questions about the history of life.
Because all these features that all of us have always thought, well, that's a bird, look, it has feathers and it flies and does this and that. It sits on its nest and it rolls its eggs and it sings to defend territory and attract mates and on and on and on and on and on and on. You find out almost all these things originated before the crown, that is, all the ancestor of all living birds today. All that stuff appeared long before that. Most of them in a context having nothing whatever to do with flight.
In just the past few years, scientists have come closer to solving one of the great mysteries of evolution. The feathers we once thought set birds apart now place them in very different company.
We don't have to talk about how dinosaurs went extinct anymore because they're all around us. Once you realize that, you can never look at a bird the same way again. Care to join me in a little dinosaur watching?